mean, you're gonna have to take it piece by piece, chunk by chunk, or something.
I
Let's
do
just get
have,
out there
I
for
do
you.
have a index. I did put that in my notes. An index of all the topics. We had 7
Oh, you
topics.
can have this pair bonding thing. I don't even care about that. You go ahead
Yeah.
with that, Maurice. That I think is either you with somebody, or you're not. This is bottom line. She either like you or she don't.
I mean, yes and
I
no,
agree with Victor.
but pair bonding is it is based on actual science. You mentioned oxytocin. There's also what vasopressin, and there's another one I can't remember. No,
Serotonin.
no, well, serotonin as well, but there's also another one, progesterone.
Progesterone. Yeah.
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 So all these things come into play. Oxytocin is the big one, right? It's the number one thing that actually bonds mothers to their children. But as we know, humans have this thing called the will, right? I mean, we have a desire for hunger. There's scientific reasons we feel hungry, but we can push that off and fast, right? So we do have means and methods and ways of ignoring these hormonal drives. So it doesn't mean that the concept or the reality of the thing doesn't exist. It's just that you can blunt it. Essentially, you can blunt it, which is I think what a lot of people do is they blunt it.
The reality is, it's not pair bonding, it's sexual overstimulation. That you like to, not you, but many like to um, recategorize or relabel as pair bonding. We're humans. We ain't even naturally monogamous. So
Is
pair bonding definitely is a myth because we do not mate for life. You will
is
always find someone else attractive.
is that based on science or pseudoscience?
It's
Based on
based on
science.
science. It's based on science.
It's
You
So
will
based in
always
science.
find
It's
someone
based in
else.
science that overstimulation creates a desensitization. So once if you, a person that's consistently being promiscuous with multiple partners will become desensitized to the act and the act with any individuals. But if that person then takes a long stint of abstinence, they have an opportunity to heal themselves and be able to build those bonds based on that action again.
now,
Mhm.
I mean that completely coincides with pair bonding.
Right.
Yeah,
But that's what I'm
yeah.
but that's the point is that there are a group of the extremists say that if a woman has a high body count, that means she is incapable of pair bonding. That's the counter. What we're presenting is the counter is that having a high body count does not mean that you now lose your ability to pair bond.
Okay, this is a bad situation of correlation and causation, right? Like one does not cause the other. Like, but there is a correlation that if a woman is that promiscuous, then they may actually have an inability to pair bond. But that's a very extreme minority of women or people, whatever you want to label it as. And that doesn't mean that you're running around or you're or your typical run of the mill, person that's out there, right? So again, this is again another situation of where people are confusing causation for correlation.
I agree exactly what I want to say 90% of what you're saying. The
Okay,
10% is
that
the
passed.
10% for me is the infamous of saying that you will never be able to pair bond. Well, we're saying that is you have to desensitize yourself to pair bond. That doesn't mean you'll never be able to do it.
Not
You can't do it
not
right now because you're
not
overstimulated.
desensitized. Yeah, you
You
have to
have to
take
you
away
have
that
to
situation.
desensitize yourself. You're
No,
overstimulated.
not
But
you have
you,
to desensitize yourself to the overstimulation. You have to
Right.
be able to become sensitive again, is what she's trying to say. And
Absolutely.
because it's just like if I was to smoke trees, the first time I do it, it's like, woo, I'm on cloud 35. You know what I'm saying? Then if I do it every day, by 10 years later, I'm just like, it's like a cigarette. Like, yeah, so what y'all got? It's nothing. That has absolutely no effect on me. But if I fast from it for a long period of time, I'll become sensitive to it again, to where if I take a long fast from it and go back to smoking, it's like, whoo, I ain't felt this way in a long time. You know, it's the overstimulation is what makes it difficult for some to reestablish a romantic pair bond, not a pair bond in general. And that's the thing that also needs to be separated, because just because a person is promiscuous doesn't mean they're not bonded to their children, does not mean they're not bonded to their parents, does not mean they're not bonded to their best friends. So you have to make that demarcation as well.
Okay, I want to jump right there because I talk a lot about this in a roundabout way. I've spoken to Maurice. I've had engagements, you know what I'm saying, with all of you, and um, I talk about sexual discipline
Mm-hmm.
because, and that's in line with what Tim, you know what I'm saying, what Tim was just saying. You know, if you live your life pursuing sexual fulfillment, it's gonna scramble your brain because men that chase vagina are usually the least trustworthy men. Generally speaking, they will throw, like, if you watch any entertainment, right? Everybody up here seen Scarface before.
Yep.
I have.
What's the one rule that Tony told Manolo?
Can't remember
Ooh,
exactly.
I
He
can't
said
remember exactly.
he said don't sleep with his sister.
Oh yeah.
Not my sister. He said,
Yeah.
Not
not
my
my sister.
sister. And what happened after he slept with his sister?
All hell broke loose.
Okay, he was coked up. He had an M203. He had everybody running behind him. He couldn't make no decisions. If you think about every first world society that's ran by some form of religious doctrine, every one of those societies has provisions and guidance for how men and women are to engage with one another. You know what I'm saying? To some degree, it's a conversation because the men that ran these societies knew how dangerous distracted men were if all they had to pursue was women. You know what I'm saying? And just like what Tim brought up before about child support and women not being entitled to it if they were unwed. You know what I'm saying? Child support was only for women that had been married, and you know, and however that was arranged. All of this stuff amounts to that. Like from you, when you look at the foster care system, the child support system, the way children, you know what I'm saying, are counted in schools, population control, everything you think about, the census, all of this is about sexual discipline and being able to regulate how often and who is reproducing the most. And you're not talking about this conversation unless you talk about people humping.
I do agree with Vic with the when we have a conversation with male extremists. I'm gonna go male extremists because I want to get a blanket of the red pill, the manosphere, righteous sphere,
Mhm.
MGT, whatever, whomever. The male righteous sphere extremists. There is a lack of talking about sexual deviances, accountability, preferences. Like you can't really have a sincere, real conversation about this shit. All there is just a bunch of bickering.
Right.
Even when we come down to what is perceived or expected in the household amongst a man and a woman or in a marriage or in a relationship. Sexual deviances definitely come in, and then they leak into some other things like being a single mother, being a SA victim, being in domestic violence, and then I think here's another thing I want to put out there: a lot of sexual deviances are more fetish than just a blanket statement of everyday how everyday people act and how they should be. Even with gender roles, that should be sounding fetish to me a lot of times.
I think a lot of it is zip code based because you see what you see wherever you are. You know what I'm saying? Because I
Mm-hmm.
believe earlier, like I said, like I'm from the South. I'm from Birmingham, Alabama. I'm familiar with two parent household culture. You know what I'm saying? The traditional nuclear family, where it's like you guys out in California right now, right? And you
No,
said
I'm in
some,
Philly. He's in
where,
Cali.
who's
He's
in California?
somewhere else.
Okay. Yeah, but regionally specific, like I know a lot of guys that's like from up north. I've had consultations from guys I pay attention to where are my clients coming from, right? That
Mm-hmm.
need whatever they need. And regionally speaking, most men from all the way out west, and up on the East Coast, they generally don't grow up with two parents.
Mhm.
So and their family structures are based on survival, single mother homes. You know what I'm saying? If you listen to rap music, like even when you go back and listen to Wu-Tang song Cream, the first verse was I grew up on the crime side, the New York Times side. Staying alive was no job. I had second hands. Moms bounced on old man. And most of the music comes from young men trying to survive in the street that's been raised without no man in the house, because the man that mom created them with was in and out of jail too. You know what I'm saying? Was on and off the bottle too, and then so on and so forth. This pattern, you can't replicate something you've never experienced. So the only resume you got is your children's behavior. You know what I'm saying? And the choices that they make. And these guys talking about being a teen and going upstate to Rikers for selling. You know what I'm saying? Dope. That's crazy to me. You know what I'm saying? When you think about now in our big ages, think about what you was doing when you was 12 or 13 years old. You know what I'm saying? And if you grew up with both your parents, you don't have the same story as you know what I'm saying, in terms of that type of
But
survival
that's
in most cases.
not the. I'm sorry to interrupt, but that's not true necessarily. Being as though, hi, my name is Benny. First of all, I'm new to
Yeah,
this whole manosphere, red pill, blue pill. I'm 46. When red pill, blue pill was introduced to me, that was the awakening of what the government is doing. It had nothing to do with men and women. So this is all new to me, honestly,
yeah,
right? If y'all date back that far, right? But
yeah. I'm
it's
45,
true in
so
a
we're the
sense,
same space.
and not in a sense. I grew up on East Coast, like Pac said, East Coast born, West Coast raised. I really came into my manhood on the West Coast, where I seen just like the East Coast, two parent households, and it's a choice. Men in our age chose to say, "Yo, New Jersey drive stealing cars. I'm gonna steal cars too." They got a mom and dad there, right? So I'm big on accountability. And I will say what I'm hearing from the red pill, whether it's extremist or novice, whatever, there's no accountability for men. And until we address that and not say, oh, well, it's because of this parent, I didn't do this. No, you had a choice. Just like mom, dad, grandmom, everybody got the same speech if they're black. If everyone else is going to jump off the bridge, are you going to do it?
You know,
That's
you
where
know,
that I
you,
became
you,
a follower and not a leader aspect. So if you're going to be a follower from day one, you're going to follow people over the bridge. You got to hold yourself accountable and say, "Oh, I'm not following that. It's a dead end." I had a conversation earlier with, and men are submissively trained this way now, and we don't even realize it. If you see a brick wall, aren't you going to tell your friend, "Yo, it's a brick wall right there"? Or are you going to follow your friend to the brick wall and then have an argument about who didn't tell who it was a brick wall? Men have to be held accountable, especially us with this skin. Regardless, I don't care who raised you, you chose. It wasn't the society around you. It wasn't the streets pulled you in. Peer pressure is not that strong. If you're not strong mentally, say it. I'm not a strong man mentally. A lot of men want to hide behind barriers and
I'm
symbolizations of what they're supposed to be, and not choosing to say, "Hey, you know what? I'm better than that."
I
Again,
want
either
to say
you
I want to say this right here, because this is the part where I agree with you. For we're taking different paths and different routes to the same goal. So I want to
right.
make sure I'm capturing that. I don't want to make it seem like I'm disagreeing, because I target, you know what I'm saying, what I do. And I have clients that I consult, and I've looked at a lot of different patterns of behavior, because that's what my expertise and my background is, right? And the main thing that's consistent with all of this is not just poor sexual discipline. Most people that are sexually undisciplined have poor emotional discipline. Now, then that is strongly correlated with the choices that people make. Now, generally speaking, the reason I said that the single parent household produces less emotionally disciplined men and women is because the absence of the father is the absence of discipline by and large. Everybody knows this. You know what I'm saying? Accountable men being present, strong masculine figures. It may not be true for your individual story, but statistically, that they track this stuff for a reason. You know what I'm saying? Just like I said before, you got to think about population control, census data, welfare. all of these other programs that get incentive, they grant incentives. You know what I'm saying?
Grant incentives too. Yeah.
Yep. So that's the only reason I'm saying it, because we have to understand why the entities that run the country track the same information that we're over here having disagreements about or quarrels about, or for whatever personal experience, but not anecdotal experience. You got macro, and then you got micro. The micro is that, yeah, you're not fixing to go, like the analogy you gave, you're not going to be a follower and just go willingly follow yourself. You know what I'm saying? Follow people just because they did something. But the macro is there's a farm system that has an account. It accounts for people. Like, just like there are schools for women, young ladies in high school that are pregnant, they send them over to a different school. Why do you think they do that? You know what I'm saying? And then they groom them with certain programs that'll help them get into the workforce faster, because they want more single mothers in the workforce. And that in turn, it divides up the household. Instead of you and your significant other nested under one roof, now you got the woman got her own house and the man got her own house. You
It's an own
subsidize.
house.
Exactly.
Yeah.
So you split it up. It's like having it's the difference between buying a duplex or buying a single family home. Which one are you going to get the most rent money from? The duplex or the single family home? You could charge different. You could charge two rents on the duplex versus one underneath one roof. So that's what I'm saying. That's the way that they divide things up. You got to look at why we are counted the way that we count. You know what I'm saying?
I'm
Because-
curious though. I'm curious because it seemed like he had an argument because he seemed to have balked against the idea of a single family household. And I'm curious what his argument is, if we have time for that.
Me? Who?
I'm sorry, I didn't get your name. It kind of cut when you were saying.
Vinny, I don't,
Vinny,
because
yeah.
I come from that. I know that, again, it's choices. I had friends that grew up in double parent households. I don't have a criminal record. They do. You know what I'm saying?
Okay.
And what a lot of men don't see when, and I'll say this is a judgment thing, whether it's based on science, whether based on this, whether you want to base it on, it's a judgment thing, that single parent is automatically bad, instead of, again, you don't know the situation, whether dad left mom left dad was beating on mom. You don't know. No one knows. All we know is this child is probably undisciplined or lacks direction, right? That's what we may know. But I also know, if statistics won't show, that there's also, again, double parent households where that child lacks no direction. This child came in pregnant at 16. She got a mom and a dad. No one accounts for that. I knew a lot of kids that young women went through that program where they went to schools, right? Because they got pregnant. They come from double parent households. I've seen the ones that come from single parent households get straight A's, they're at the top of their class. And the ones that come from double parent, they're lagging behind, trying to prove themselves. You know what I mean?
Can I add on to that?
I want
Can I
to
add
jump
on?
in.
Environment.
Let me get it out. Let me get it out.
If I could just follow up with one question, please.
Well, because I can hold on to my thought. Go ahead.
Yeah. Let me. The reason I was going to ask the question: do you think it's kind of two-part question. Do you think that you would have fared better if you had a father? And do you think those two-parent households where the children didn't do all that great, do you think they would have done better if they didn't have a father?
That's
You know
a loaded
what?
ass
This is what I'll
question.
say. No, because this is something, even as a man, I thought about raising my own child, right? You know, like, daggone, there's some things I'm missing because I didn't have that dad, right? But I know I had strong male figures. So I had to take where that one guy who grew up with those few guys I knew that grew up with double parent households, they really focused on one man, and they're trying to focus to be better than that man, right? Which everyone knows, and I know with this now with my own child, to live up to your father's expectation can be a downfall. And I got to constantly remind myself and my child that, hey, listen, you're going to be whoever you choose to be, as long as you're better than me at this point in life. And when I was 21, this is what I was doing. I hope you're not doing this at 21. You know what I'm saying? So,
No, I get it.
I think, because I'm teaching you better. You don't have to be me. I don't want you to fight I've seen people from double parent household men try to struggle to be their dad because their dad thought that, hey, listen, I'm gonna make you just like me. And that dad was a womanizer. That dad was an alcoholic. That dad never took accountability for who he was. You see what I'm saying? So it all depends on your environment and who you are as a man, where we're all going to have a say to say, hey, this person is lacking this in their manhood, this person lacking this in their manhood. But it's all about who you choose to be as a man.
Again, I think you're taking apart my question, though.
I don't. Yeah, I hear what you're saying, but there's no definite answer because, like,
everyone has a different
path. I'm just trying to get what you think would be. Would you think it would have been that these children would have fared off better in these situations, in the situation of the single?
I don't. Again, go ahead, because I can't. I don't know if I'm answering it.
I'm answering
it the best I can explain it to you.
I'll let Tim go.
Okay, so first I want to say shout out to everybody watching, everybody in the comments. If you want to come onto the panel, there is a link in the comments. 2, I want to say that to your point, Maurice, and to the point that of the overall topic is that, of course, 2 parents being there don't automatically mean success. It's if you live in a household and you grow up and your mother's abusive, your father's abusive, one of your parents is on drugs or something like that, just because both of them there doesn't automatically equate to success. But the whole fact of the matter is that if you have fairly decent parents, you're going to turn out a whole lot better than if you just had one fairly decent parent by doing everything by themselves, because you'll have more resources. You'll have, in a lot of cases, there'll be an extra income. So you have more resources to put you in a lot of different extracurricular activities, a lot of extra resources to put you into programs and for that child to actually do things and cater to that child's overall experience in life. Also a 2-parent household where they're both fairly decent, they're going to live in a neighborhood that's going to give that child access to a better school, because they're going to live in a neighborhood that has property taxes, and schools are typically funded by property taxes, versus a housing project where no one owns the house. So what property taxes are funneling to those schools? The state is the city is paying the school to you know what I'm saying, versus the property taxes funded the school. So there's a lot of nuances that are in there, but for the most part, what I think we're trying to get at is that if they're in a household where both parents are reasonably decent people, not on drugs, not abusive, nothing crazy like that, that those children tend to have better outcomes than a parent doing it by themselves. And I land the plane.
I think single parent households exist. I think as of right now, the last I saw was that single mother homes lead the count at like 51. I think somewhere between 51 and 55%.
54.
Yeah, 54, somewhere in those numbers, right?
Yeah.
I think that I think there's a split based on that data. I think there's a matriarchal demographic of men and women, and I think that there's a patriarchal demographic of men and women, because when we go like that whole conversation right there was like Maurice, he probably was raised with his father, and just like Vinny said, he wasn't, right? And he comes from the single mother format, and it's not necessarily a clash of ideas. I think we're getting better at that, but I do believe more conflicts are coming, you know what I'm saying, between less emotionally balanced people. But when it happens, we need to start paying attention to it. Like I'm saying, like it's a suggestion anyway, there's a demographic of people that does not understand what it's like to be raised with only one parent. And it's not a negative thing. It's just we're not the same.
It's a lack of perspective.
It is a lack of perspective. Absolutely.
That's what I'm saying. I'm talking about we need to have increased objectivity, and I believe that both sides need to listen to it to each other. And I think that the demographic that comes from the two parent side, from the patriarchal group of people, they
Mhm.
have an objective view. From both, from having a mother and a father underneath the same roof, and a two parent structure that comes with aunts and uncles on both sides of the family to reinforce whatever the family names and values and morals and stuff that goes with that. Where
Mhm.
it's like you meet more people that's on the single mother side of it. Most of them were raised with a bunch of women, and they grew up seeing mothers and daughters fight each other. The conflicts are completely different. The power struggle is different on the single mother side, and that's just from me talking to my clients. You know what I'm saying? From going back and forth, and then what I'm saying, getting the chance to understand things. The first thing I ask them when they have a problem with me, like when I talk to women and they talk to me about their relationship outcomes, and the first thing I ask them is that, how was the man raised that you was with? You know what I'm saying? Look at the large, like say if you've been with 5 men, right? How many of those men did you have a good relationship with? And then the men that you had good relationships with, did they have a father? And then, so what was the conflict? You know what I'm saying? And then generally speaking, they all say the same thing. My best relationship was with the guy that had his dad. All of them say the same thing, and they came from seeing marriage, seeing women respect men, and that changes your self-perception, because if you look at the model of the man or the woman that's raised by just a woman, the man is going to get his experience and his game from how to deal with women from how his mother deals with men. And then the daughter is going to conduct herself in a way that's relative, that what I'm saying, that the mother may find competitive, because
Can
most of the
can I?
most of the most of the, because
I want
most of
to wait. I got
the,
next. Let him
I
finish.
you still got to talk. Yeah, sorry. I
yeah,
apologize.
yeah. So most of the women that come from that scenario, generally speaking, they usually the oldest daughter, and their mom had them when they were 16 or 17 years old. So they grew up kind of close with that woman, what I'm saying? That's also her mother, and they develop a lot of competitive energy. It's the truth, you know what I'm saying? And again, I'm talking about macro and micro. Micro is your anecdotal individual experience, the people around you, and macro is the large sample general population outcome. That both things are true at the same time. That's why I say there's a patriarchal, and I think that there's a matriarchal way that we need to be looking at this.
Okay, I want to say this. First, I'm gonna start off with when it comes down, because he said a lot. Y'all said a lot. Okay. One of the things you guys touched on was our music, our art. I want to say for us black folks and brown folks, most of the most beautiful art probably came from a person that went through a lot of shit. That's just how art
Rap
is.
music, rap music came from people that went through a lot of shit,
Uh,
men with trauma, and didn't get a chance to voice it out through no
even
other.
even our art, as far as our Mona Lisa. If you didn't know that, he did not grow up with his mother and father either. So a lot of our art, what we deem is the most beautiful, the most moving, the most motivating thing, is coming from these broken ass places. I want to make that known first. Now, moving into the single mother, and not the single mother, the notion of marriage in the black community. I just want to touch this for a second. There's two different black people. There's the bourgeois.
Bourgeoisie.
There's the average black person.
Le
No, there's
bourgeoisie.
three. You forgot the ninjas.
Oh, into the ninjas. Into the ninjas. But I just want to talk about the bourgeois and the average. We're not, like he said, the macro and and what else you said?
The
Micro.
ninjas. The macro,
No,
the
no, no.
micro. The
Macro,
macro, the micro,
big picture, micro,
the small
The
picture.
macro and the micro. Okay.
yes.
So the macro, the smaller picture is the ninjas. The bigger picture is the average black folk and the bourgeois. Now hear me out. Everything that a new cluster black family has is modeled by is modeled not by colonialism, like old folks. We're not old. We're not that old. We're a little modern than that. It's more modern about modeled around the idea of capitalism in black community, as if you can do something like that. So when that idealism, you can't, like, there's no black capitalism as a black person without going through a white person in America. That's just how it's designed. So when we think about a lot of our family system setup is through capitalism, especially when you got this patriotism and matriarch shit, as if that really pertains to us outside of welfare and systematic beliefs. Well, systematic, not beliefs, but systematic policies. Outside of that, we just have choices. Outside of the systematic things that are against us as black people, you just have choices. You have your past, you have your trauma, and you're supposed to learn from all of these things. From
Can I
all
get
of
in there?
these things. I'm gonna let you get in there. Like, I let everybody go. I ain't interjecting on nobody. So we supposed to learn from these things. That's just my message for a lot of the, since I'm the one that brought this shit up. That's just my message. We're supposed to learn from these things. And I guess with me and Mr. Victor down there, because he's down there on my page, I don't know how, what we argue a lot is perfectionism. And I aspire, I'm one of those women that be like, yeah, that'd be a perfect world if shit was just like that. But I'm more of a realist, and he's more of a person that just, like our forefathers, that I got a dream shit, and not like but with a little Marcus Garvey little twist, brother, I must
Yeah.
say.
I believe it.
I
believe.
must say,
I
and I
believe
land
it.
my plane.
Yeah, I believe in discourse. Like, you got your perspective of the world, and it deserves to be heard. And where we lose is that when people pick a side and say your side isn't real because of my individual micro experience. You know what I'm saying? And then you get a chance to miss it's intentional dismissive. It's cognitive dissonance in the flesh. It's like saying somebody from Australia doesn't exist, or Australia is not a real country because you never met somebody from there. You know what I'm saying?
Never
Like,
been
just because you've never been there don't mean it don't exist.
there.
That's why we leave from where we leave to go discover what we discover. I got people telling me, what I'm saying, like, my individual experience in the army is not relevant to somebody that's never been in. How can you say that? So if you got some information from it that has allowed you or enabled you to speak with conviction, maybe you should listen to those people because they probably saying something.
Okay, so what I wanted to get in on was kind of bringing it all the way back because you guys brought up marriage and single family homes and things like that. Well, this whole live initially started with Morphine calling out a group of gentlemen in a Kevin Samuels group. And where I'm going to call cap in this Kevin Samuels group, and the extremists that we're talking about are the ones that have perverted KS's message, because KS's message was actually to bring back the nuclear family. His message was, get off your high horse and stop being delusional and go work it out with your baby daddy and put that family back together. That was KS's message. His message wasn't the whole passport, bro. Oh, go get a woman from another spot and go this exercise. That wasn't his message. His message was, y'all need to get off your high horse, stop acting like you were 10 when you were 4, and humble yourself and put that family back together so that we as a community can grow, because we are the only community that I've seen, unless y'all can break down other communities that don't promote that don't promote marriage, because every other group gets married, every other group benefits from marriage. They benefit from having dual incomes, they buying houses, their kids are turning out wonderful, they going to colleges and all of that. And what are we doing? we literally as a community are the cliche baby mama and baby
Well,
daddy. Like, literally.
Well, there is that, baby.
I,
Yes.
I gotta say this. And this held true to me in the past, and I know this holds true for our community. Our ideal of marriage is warped, and it's not what it's supposed to be according to our needs, right? if we marriage based on what people tell us, and that's real. We base marriage off of what the look should be, when they don't know that in this culture, this person has a betrothed marriage. They don't know in this culture, this person married a woman that has a dowry. We don't know certain, and we don't take accountability in that. And neither do we teach our kids. It's been out here that, you know, preach that, oh, dual family household, blah, blah, blah. But if I go to marry your daughter, she don't come with nothing except with princess rules. She don't come with anything.
And they
You know,
like that
so-
shit. And they promote
and they
that.
like-
Like,
Again, it's like we could promote what the messages truly should be, is that promote family. Just because you and this person didn't work out, that don't mean y'all can't be family. Family means that somewhere, if she's down on her luck, she could come to me, and this is her home too. Mi casa e su casa. If I'm down on my luck, me and her have a good rapport as co-parents, that I could go to her home and say, hey, I need somewhere to sleep. I don't care who I'm dealing with. This is my family. And we don't promote that love. We only say love is only if we're married. First and foremost, y'all didn't plan this baby. Y'all didn't plan this marriage out properly. You didn't take this much to court this woman, this amount of time. She doesn't come with this. You didn't, before you even got married, you didn't ask her father's permission or her mother's permission. You didn't do all these things to promote this kind of, oh, marriage is what keeps our community. No, love is what kept our community. Not everybody was married in the 60s. Not everybody was married in the 70s. Not everybody was married in the 50s. It was love. It was, hey, I love you as my brother. I love you as my brother. Regardless of what your insight on life is, I respect it, but we have a goal to reach, and it's our freedom. We forgot that look of, hey, this is what freedom's supposed to look like. Each one teach one. We promote, hey, you, again, only two parents can raise a family. Instead of, it took a neighborhood to raise me. It took a neighborhood to raise the people that had dual parents households. We don't promote community. We don't promote love. We promote what this person said. But what about the true nature of who we are? Forget all of that statistics. Forget all of what science says. What does your human nature tell you about black man and black woman? I should love you regardless because of what we got to go through. Not because of who you went through, not because of where you come from. I'm not judging you what parent household you come from. It's what your hindsight is and what education brought you this far. And are you educated enough to have a conversation about growth and prosperity? If you're not, either I need to teach you or I need to talk to someone else. But it's all right, brother. It's all right, sister. I'm going to roll you along eventually. And I think we lost true hindsight of that as a black nation, as a culture, and what our forefathers truly went through. And that's just, you know, I don't care about where people come from, what they've been through. I really care about where you want to be in life. Because if your mind isn't open enough to what's out there for us, then you'll never know. You know, you'll miss the simple fact that regardless of how your baby mom treated you, you treated her wrong too. Be held accountable for that and move on. Let's raise this child to be better than us. And no one looks at that. They only look at, oh, only a mom and dad could do that together. Yeah, that don't necessarily make it be in the same house. You just gotta love each other. Where's that thought at? That's why I never listened to Kevin Samuels and nothing that followed him, because he sounded like a bitter man that chose the wrong woman and didn't treat her right, didn't satisfy her in no way possible, and he got caught up out there. He thought just because I took care of you and did all of this that you're supposed to be a housewife, and he forgot that, hey, you got to take care of a housewife too. He forgot.
Hey, Vinny, everything you're saying is absolutely necessary in an aspirational sense, but duty and discipline is the only thing that gets results. So, like, people aren't getting married out of a sense of duty to an obligation. You know what I'm saying? They just they treating it like it's something to do, and nothing worth accomplishing does not happen without discipline and duty.
Why would you get married for business instead of obligation? First and foremost, that's what I think a lot of people miss. Most people got married for business reasons. Not I'm obligated to move the family along if we're talking that way about marriage. meaning my family has this, your family has that. Let's come together to build this. If we're talking that, but we don't get married for that. We get married because, oh, I had a baby, or oh, I love you. What? It should technically be for business, because if we looked at marriage from a business standpoint, things would be different. It would.
Yeah. And that's why I was saying there's a patriarchal version of the same community. There's a matriarchal version that doesn't have this type of conversation, or you know what I'm saying, about getting married for purpose. You know what I'm saying? They get married because they want to set a foundation for the generations of children that come after them, if that's the case, or whatever their legacy aim is. It's got to have a purpose involved. You know, like the people that don't have a purpose, you know what I'm saying, a higher purpose or a goal, or they're not going to see the value in marriage, or if they do get married, they're not going to value the construct of it the same way that somebody would if they got a plan to have, like, we're going to have 5, 6, 7 sons. We're going to have them go do this. We're going to have them go to school this way. Like for instance, Christian McCaffrey played for the 49ers, right? His dad was an athlete. Then his mom was an Olympic athlete. His dad groomed him to, you know what I'm saying, be a professional athlete himself. And we see how that worked out. Look at LeBron. Look at just like all of the entertainers that we're seeing, you know what I'm saying, that do that. I'm not saying that that's the hallmark stamp. I'm not basing that off of entertainers. But what I'm saying is that there are men that recognize their influence that they have on their offspring, and they doing it for the right reasons.
But so you're right. Sorry, because you're right. It's like if your daughter is a dancer and my son is a singer. Hey, listen, y'all should come. We need to court each other. Hey, listen, y'all to do this so that way our offspring. Let's make sure. I get you. It's just we got to look at it again, micro, macro. If we're going to build the foundation of a nation, hey, our carpenters and our plumbers maybe need to. We have women carpenters. We have men plumbers. Maybe they need to get together with their kids. You know what I'm saying? Now we have a company. I get it. It's just we got to understand that it's not levels to it; it's priorities to it. And what's our priority?
I agree with you. Yeah, if I can say two things in regard to this. First thing is the concept of marriage is a question I've been asking on just about any place I've been able to speak. We need a definition of what that is first. Like all this types of getting together, hookups, meeting together, whatever you're calling these things, everybody's got their own special definition of what a marriage is.
Yeah.
We need to figure out what a marriage is. What is that ideal marriage? And understand that nothing outside of that can be considered a marriage. You can call it whatever you want, but it's not a marriage.
I don't think that's ever possible. I don't think marriage is a blanket concept that one can fit, or a phenotype one can fit into.
No. There's they have done it. It's been done.
It didn't work out. They had a whole feminist movement because of it.
Well, no.
Marriage is.
I'm just stating the facts.
I agree with Maurice. Marriage is an ideal to an individual.
Okay, exactly.
It's an ideal. But you know what I mean? Just like me saying marriage is for business. It's an ideal. It's how I see it.
Okay, but with ideal, we have to understand that no matter what ideal it is, you're going to come up short to what that ideal is. So when
I agree that
and all this other stuff, because things came up short to that ideal, but it doesn't mean that the ideal is incorrect, right?
Why?
There's this attempt that because we didn't meet the ideal, then the ideal is incorrect. We may need to look at the ideal to figure out, you know what, maybe there's something wrong with it, but we don't get rid of the ideal.
I don't want to seem like an ass or a hyena, but if something is not working and you keep doing it, isn't that what Einstein called insanity?
All right, check this out. Hold on, check this out. So I looked up here on AI, and let's see what is considered, air quotes, marriage. Commitment, keyword, a lifelong promise to love, care, and stand by one another. Number 2, love, emotional, physical, and spiritual connection. 3, a partnership, shared responsibilities, shared decisions and goals. 4, intimacy, physical and emotional closeness. 5, communication, open and honest exchange of thoughts, feelings, and desires. 6, trust, faith in each other over integrity and loyalty. Faith in each other's integrity and loyalty. Support, encouragement to help in personal growth and development. Compromise, willing to go through differences and find common ground. Lastly, loyalty, fidelity. So I agree with all of this.
Well,
Now,
okay, in agreeing,
order that-
I got another explanation, but go ahead.
in agreeing with all of this is what I was going to get to. In agreeing with all of this, how many people you speak to about a marriage and they're going to be nitpicking and pulling certain stuff out of this list?
right.
Of course,
Right.
that's human nature.
And they'll say, "Oh, well, my marriage doesn't work that way. My marriage works this way. This my marriage." This is why I'm saying about like you need a formalized understanding of what the ideal marriage is. If you come up short to that or you don't meet that criteria, what you have is not a marriage. Whether you want to call it, I'm more speaking in the more spiritual, more fluid sense of the concept of marriage, rather than the legal sense and more concrete understanding. Because we can put down these legal lines of what a marriage is, but it doesn't. Like people, we know that people can purport an idea and a thought process without actually living that life in process, right? This is what we call liars typically, right? Or hypocrites, right? People that call themselves Christians or Muslims, but they don't actually live the life of Christian and Muslim. Same thing that people say, I have a great marriage, but they don't actually live that great marriage, right? So I'm speaking more in that spiritual, more fluid sense of the concept of marriage. There needs to be an ideal. And then that ideal is something that we need to be searching for or reaching towards in order to be able to get it. You on the same page? I'm just looking at understanding rather than.
I mean,
it sounds wordy for no reason.
what that guy said. This is the reason why I like him.
Yeah, like I listen to all of that. That's like word salad. Number one, it's a legally recognized union. Let's just say that there's the paperwork that follows it. You know what I'm saying? At the state,
She reading the same definition I'm reading.
And then because like these are just real simple terms because people waste a lot of time debating like what they think this ideal is. It's never gonna happen. The 2-parent family is not as popular as the single parent family. That's what we keep talking about, right? So the majority of the conversation, people are going to be looking for answers to that are custom fit. But the general definition is a legally recognized union. That's part one. And the other part of it is it's the spiritual side, depending on who, what belief system that people get married within. So it's really that easy. So
there is no definition that says anything about spirit. It says marriage is socially and legally recognized union between two individuals, typically involving a commitment that live and share as life partners. Even if the first marriages had nothing to do with spiritual, it was very financial.
I get that part before the law and everything else came into play. I'm talking about the people that recognize marriage under Christian law of God. You know what I'm saying? The people that say it's a covenant between God, man, and woman. It's the umbrella, whatever the traditional household, like your conservative Republicans, they look at marriage completely different. You know what I'm saying? Than probably everybody else. Your evangelicals, that's
why I get what you're saying. That's why they.
That's what I'm saying.
And marriage.
But you got black conservatives, you got black liberals that look at this look at differently. But if they are Christian, they operate out of the same text. They operate out of the same covenant that's been written, generally speaking. And most places they, like the Quran got its own, protocol, you know what I'm saying, for marriage as well, in terms of how men and women supposed to operate with each other. It's a covenant. It's about being complementary to each other. instead of competitive. You know what I'm saying? In its most plain sense, you don't marry somebody that you at war with. You don't marry somebody that you're not willing to protect, and you don't get with somebody. You don't pick a woman that's going to destroy you. You know what I'm saying? So a covenant means like I got your back through thick and thin. You know what I'm saying? Through sickness and health, and all the other, you know what I'm saying, aspirational words that are in line with what we're talking about. The ideal marriage is based on your personal discipline. It's based on your personal sense of duty, your commitment, not somebody else's example, because you don't know the personality and psychology of anyone else. Stop looking at other people, looking for these examples. Be the example that you want other people to be. Be the example of an ideal person in a marriage, like the one you got in your head, like the expectation you have of your wife and the expectation you got of your husband. Be the complementary piece that makes it worth doing.
All right. Well,
Marriage,
that's
but
my second point.
marriage was
one of the,
supposed to be about business.
it was
That's what it
always
was.
meant for,
It
it was
always
always, if you
meant.
date back, it was always about business. It was always
But
about
It was
business.
about
Everything
inheritance.
before was
Now,
It was
it,
about like
let me
you have to look at the
implications of
difference
such
between-
but let's
partnerships.
hold on.
But listen,
Let me throw
listen.
one
Hear me
thing.
out. Hear
Hold
me
on.
out.
Can I
A
throw
lot of
one
the
thing
things
out
that
there?
y'all said is socialisms. So I wanted to say that.
Can I throw one thing out there? One thing I think I believe we as a Black community need to understand is that a lot of that stuff was never meant for us. We gotta understand it. We gotta understand it, and that's not. I'm not being racist. It's like we just have to come to that understanding. Is hey, our sense of what we need to do as a community is different from everyone else. It's different. What it is, like our dollars and how we circulate it, just everything needs to be rotated back to again, man, woman, sit down and actually discuss what we want for the future and make sure our ducks are aligned in the same order and not don't pretend that you could be housewife when you're not. And man, don't act like you're making 100 million a year when you know you only make 50,000 and you need that extra income. So hey, baby, we need to have a 2-income home. Right. Until I get to a 1 income and you could be a housewife, we don't need to have kids. We need to make sure, hey, we stack this nest egg first. You see what I'm saying? That's why I always say it's a business deal, because two people have to think nowadays, unless again you're a man or you're a woman making over 100,000 a year. There's no way you could come into an average Joe relationship thinking, you know, I'm gonna build us a nation on 1 income, and a loaf of bread is $5.
See, this is where
I agree with what
disagree
you
with
said.
you. But hold on, this is where I disagree. I disagree when he went with the part when he said this isn't necessarily for our people, because even historically, if you go into Africa and all of that, when villages and things had crisis or they were at war, there was a type of beef. The way that they ended the wars was to have a union between the tribes. They married 2 individuals from the 2 different tribes, and now these tribes were no longer at war because they were now family. So
business.
So now, and that was a business transaction.
That was a business transaction.
So I won't. That's why I said I disagree with you when you said that it isn't for us, but because it's a practice that we also did as Africans.
I mean, in a sense of how people other than us portray marriage as, you know, you're supposed to be in love. You're supposed to, you know. No, it's not about that. For us, at this point in time in our lives, it's like if you look at China and other countries, you got to have a license to have kids. Throughout the Black community, we need to have a drop squad to say, hey, y'all two can't have kids. You know, I'm being facetious, but we need to really say, hey, y'all can't have kids. They're not going to produce anything. No, you're from the projects, this person from the other side. Y'all need to come together. Maybe y'all could grow some prosperity. She should be a good housewife. You know how to keep house. And you should be a hardworking man. Y'all go do that together. But no, y'all two are 2 ghetto people that should not have kids. So, I mean, not saying that to be, I'm saying it to be smart. You know what I mean? But go ahead.
So I want to talk about what's on the screen right now. This is what Vic just threw out there. It's hard to be a housewife or a husband when you weren't raised by 2 parents, neither. So The way that I say this exact same phrase, as I say it as is, you don't know how to be a housewife or a husband if you've never seen it yourself. If the only example you've ever had of what a husband and a wife in a healthy relationship are is Bill Cosby, the Cosby Show, Family Matters and all of that type of stuff, that's heartbreaking. And the reason why is that that's all presented as fantasy. So, I've been married 15 years. My parents were married 19 years up until my father passed away. So I grew up in a household. It wasn't necessarily a healthy relationship, but I still learned the responsibilities and had an example set for me firsthand from the day I opened my eyes until my father passed away of what a two-parent household is, what the roles of a man is, and what is a man's duty, what's a woman's duty to do. Now, granted, my parents my mother is 77 today. They they had a very true traditional lifestyle. Like my father went to work, my mom stayed home and raised all the kids and all of that. And we see these arguments that get made for that today by individuals that are extreme that say, I want my wife to do all of these wifely duties, but she still has to go to work and help me with the bills. That's a contrast to saying you want a traditional household. So it's like what has to happen now is that where the cycle of life we live in right now has to be reconstructed, because we live in a society right now that women are not, I repeat, women are not gonna say, you're in control of my life, because that's how a lot of women, not all, but that's how a lot of women understand what marriage is this man wants me to be his slave, you know so on and so forth. So there needs to be some type of, somebody put in the comments earlier about compromising before you even get married. Both people need to express what their expectations of a marriage is before you can, because otherwise you're going in blind. You're going in, if he goes in expecting, well, this is what my idea of marriage is, and she has, well, this is my idea of what marriage is, and that conversation is never had, that marriage failed before it even got started. Because if there is no conversation of what you expect, then you can get no out. You're not going to get the outcome that you want. And I land the plane.
There was a lot said there.
So my second point.
You're right. So I said there.
Yeah, my second point was on cycles. Yeah, everything that we're talking about is a cycle, right? These are all generational cycles, right? And there was a question I saw pop up that kind of spurred this thought of understanding where do we need to fix this cycle, right? Everybody's like, okay, women need to stop sleeping around. People are saying men need to be sexually disciplined. They're saying, oh, we're all screwed up anyways because, our parents didn't do it, right? There's always this externalization, right? If men are blaming women, women are blaming men, everybody blaming their parents, so there's this externalization. Nobody's actually taking any type of responsibility for where they are at in the cycle. Wherever you are, you're somewhere in this cycle. Mm-hmm. And it's your choice whether to perpetuate the cycle in the same direction that it's going. That's going to either send it down the toilet bowl or lift it up into this, area of generational wealth or whatnot, right? So again, what do we need to do as Black people to help us out of it? It's not we, it's you. You need to pick up where you are, figure out what it is that you need to do so that you don't perpetuate the same nonsense that puts you back in the same scenario that you were in before.
Discipline.
Individualism.
And you know what? And
discipline.
Just to piggyback off of what Marie said, because I totally agree, and Madison, I agreed on a lot of things you said. I try to treat my co-parent as if that's my family, and I tell everybody when someone says, "Oh, yo, I can't stand my," I'm like, "Yo, don't do that. Not in front of the kid. Regardless of how you feel about her, never voice that in public. You know, I know a friend that goes online. I can't stand, like, I'll go in his inbox. Don't do that. That's not what you want everyone to see. If that's how you feel, keep that between you and her. It's not for the public. It's certain things. It's like the Departed when he said, "I don't want to be a product of my environment. I want my environment to be a product of me." And that goes back to something I said from the beginning. We just got to show love to each other from the beginning. I don't care where you come from. If our goals are aligned, regardless of how we want to reach them, it's the same goal. How can I help you? How can you help me? And whether it's a bar system, whether it's quid pro quo, whether it's I'm doing it on the strength, we got to figure out how we can both reach our same goals because we're both looking at it the same way. And if that 2 becomes 4, that 4 becomes 6, then so be it. But I really believe until, regardless, like a discussion like this, and no one's upset, no one gets mad, I take things from everyone. I hope someone took something from me and applied it. You know what I mean? And not, oh, that person, he don't know what he was talking about. No, the brother made valid points. Whether I like it or not, he made valid points. The sister made valid points. I'm not going to discredit her. I'm not going to say she don't know shit. I'm going to say, you know what? I may not have agreed with it, but it's a valid point, and you're right. You're right about that point. We just got to do that with, like I said, love and integrity. Again, I'm also from the military, so I try to teach that core value of integrity, self-service, self-worth, selflessness, integrity, honor. You know what I'm saying? I try to teach that to everyone around me because I know that's what some of my forefathers did before they picked up that gun and protected our brothers and sisters from strange fruit. I know that's what they did. They went to the military too. I wanted to follow that path. You know what I mean? I wanted to be strong like them because I don't come from that era. So I don't know what they talk about, but I know I need to have that strength in me to pass it on to the next generation. And again, each one teach one. We always got to live that because it's us. Yeah. And I'll land the plane on that one. Like,
yeah. Morphine, you brought me to a conversation earlier when you talked about separatism, right?
Mhm.
And he's talking about Vinny's talking about, like fixing the community from the emotional standpoint, because everybody got to heal their heart too, you know what I'm saying, in order to participate. I keep echoing discipline because you cannot build anything worth sustaining with the wrong people. You got to get the undisciplined people out of the way. You can't build wealth without trust. You can't build families without trust. You can't build anything of value worth retaining. Like, for instance, right, we all know about Greenwood and Black Wall Street being burned down in 1921, but nobody talks about after that devastation that they rebuilt it. So think about that. Think about seeing all that trauma and destruction that you can simulate, and then having the wherewithal, the community, the resources, and the commitment to your community to rebuild it, So we don't have that right now. So you got a lot of undisciplined people that like to spectate. You know what I'm saying?
Mhm.
They're not going to participate. You know what I'm saying? And then you put them in the boat with you, they're going to poke holes in the same boat. There's plenty of memes that describe these people. So you have to develop a way to vet who is for you and who is against you. So when I'm up here talking about discipline versus undisciplined, sexual discipline, and all these other things, understand these are the people that destroy our community from within. The people that have children recklessly, you know what I'm saying, with no resources behind them and already got a reckless amount of kids that they wouldn't take care of. And then they reproducing with men that already got 4 or 5 kids that they're not taking care of, never married anything. You understand what I'm saying? Nothing to hand off. And we talking about rebuilding the community with people that don't have nothing to hand off. That's kind of crazy. You know what I'm saying? So as far as the accountability discussion, when it comes down to repeat and fail processes, is the definition of insanity, right? So the first time is on me. The second time is also on me. The third time I'm mentally ill. You know what I'm saying? Because
I would say that.
Yeah. So all I'm saying is that if we're gonna actually turn a corner instead of just keep talking about these same ailments and keep diagnosing the symptoms and start talking about solving the problem and actually issuing a cure, people got to choose a side. It's just the bottom line. Everybody can't go. That's what it means. You either disciplined or undisciplined. There ain't nothing but two mindsets in the world, man.
Hold on,
If,
Victor. Hold on, Victor.
hold up. If 80% of the time you're focused on something negative, you are part of the problem.
You are. You
Hold on.
are. If that's all you talk about,
Victor,
that's
hold on,
all
Victor.
you see. That's all that comes to you. That's
Victor,
all that's in your feeds. That's
but-
all that comes up on your YouTube and on. You are putting that shit in.
You
in
are the algorithm. Exactly.
You are the algorithm.
But Victor, you're pushing up against a very common trope right now, which is inclusivity. Everything you're talking about is exclusivity.
It is.
Everything you're talking about is exclusivity, right? I mean,
you gotta earn it. Maurice, you gotta earn it.
Everybody can't go, and like
They gotta earn it.
I'm with you. I'm with you. I understand the concept. I'm just saying I'm putting it out there because
I don't care what you put out there. Those are the people I decide. You see what I'm saying? Like I don't.
And he has. It's many times I posted. I mentioned him on post, and he be like, "Yo, listen, I'm not even paying this no mind. This is like low to me. Like I'm cool on this post. Like I don't even know why you here. Why are you here?
I'm
Like
writing books on how to solve the problem, and you just got word salad about the same problem that everybody posts about on social media. You know what I'm saying? Like produce a product, then debunk it if it's got an issue. This is what solution-based thinking is. Everything else is just chit chat. We way past. We way past. Like we want to solve a problem, but we just haven't.
I said, this dude.
You know who's the problem?
Marcus Garvey shit.
Not us. I want to burn it down. I'm tired of the self-inflicted injuries. You see what I'm saying? We stick in the banana in our own tailpipe. No homo, no diddy, none of that stuff. You know what I'm saying? but at what point are we gonna get serious about who can ride with us and who can't?
I'm so happy y'all came back to full circle with this conversation.
This is what it is right here. The simple fact, I never met Victor, and I don't know. Can of paint. I totally agree. You trying to burn it down? I'm trying to burn it down. How we gonna do it? That's again. You got the same goal. I got the same goal. Maurice, you with me? All right, you don't gotta like me.
But, no. It's not about like. I'm all.
No.
I'm all for truth. I love truth. Truth above all.
But it's
so when I two things when I hear like when you talk about exclusivity, I'm with you because everybody ain't gonna make it. Right? There's a life dinghy. It fits 12 people. If you 13, you swimming, bro. That's life. That's how it works. It's unfortunate. It's not how we would like it. The next time we build the boat, we're gonna make it fit. The lifeboat fit for 15 next time. Okay, so that situation don't happen again, right? But that's not for now. For right now, we got the dinghy. Dinghy fits 12 people. If you 13, you swimming. That's. I'm all about exclusivity. When y'all start talking about burn it down, my first question is what? Right?
Wait a minute. Before y'all get into that, we at the 2-hour mark, and this is where we got to start ending this live. I'm sorry. You can stay on the line afterwards, but we got to start ending this live, and I'm end it.
Well, hold on, wait. Any, you gotta go because I was gonna say anybody that wants.
No. I'm gonna get I'm wrapping it up, so I'm gonna end it with this. Do you guys have your last remarks? Again, we're going to reiterate what this whole live was about. We were coming at. I was coming at not we on this panel, but I was coming at the extreme red pill guys that's out there, extremists, not just the red pill, but red pill extremists, manosphere extremists, righteous fear extremists. I was coming at them and their mindset, and I invited you guys on here, especially you guys, because you guys have what I consider a conservative mindset, and I just think this is my opinion. I just think that a lot of the things that they say contradict what you guys want and what you are advocating for in the Black community and as Americans, goddamn it, So I wanted to have that spread, that layout with you guys. I wanted to have this conversation, and I invited these men up on here, and they thought that I was just gonna. I don't know what the hell they thought, but I just had some questions, some points. and I wanted to just discuss the things that they post, where they're coming from, with real people, because these guys talk to
I'm
themselves.
sorry to cut you off. I'm sorry to cut you off, but I gotta say this because they are live right now in the KS group, having a lot to say while the live is going on, and they did not one time click the link. And I'll just let that go. All right.
Yeah.
You know, and then the
Because they
things
could have came and
they
had
could have
they
came
could have
on
come up
here.
and had a conversation. It's not a debate. It wasn't a debate. It just was a conversation. No, if and everybody that's been watching from the beginning, no, I just was me. I didn't agree with everything she said. I agree with some of what she said, blah 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 blah. But yeah, we're gonna do final thoughts like she said, and then I want everybody to say where the people can find you.
Absolutely, let's go.
You want to go ahead and go first, Vinny? I mean,
Hey, you talking already? Go ahead. Man.
okay.
Yeah, because I'm not really anybody important, but
No,
whoever
bro,
it was.
Vinny,
You are.
My
Vinny,
thing was,
come on now.
this is the contradiction of men that needs to stop. Someone said something about a 35-year-old man expecting a 35-year-old or 40-plus-year-old woman to have no experience. Like, just the hypocrisy of that notion is the problem with some of us today. That we really think that just because we had genitals that hang outwards, that we kind of run stuff, and our mindset is true. When it's like, yo, that discipline to keep your own self in your pants before you talk about someone else, you need to make sure that you had one or two partners yourself. And until we hold ourselves or your brother accountable for that, as men, we can't move forward. That's all I got to say.
Good word.
So towards the commentary about the red pill extremist or any manosphere extremist, that's why I developed accountable masculinity. It doesn't have any other alignment other than just being focused on being disciplined or either undisciplined. That's the only two mindsets that's out there. It's a counterculture to what people would consider red pill or even manosphere. It might, resonate in some areas. In most areas, it may not. But it teaches 5 principles. Men focus on themselves is rule number 1. 2, no arguing with women. 3, decentralized leadership, knowing when to lead and when to follow, when to disengage. Rule number 4 is legacy and equity, because everything you do counts. And rule number 5 is sexual discipline, because just because you can doesn't mean you should. And it is it's the most important rule. And I wrote it at the end because it's hard to get past that, because every time you got a chance at being successful, that one slip up is always going to be associated with a man and his sexual discipline and his conduct associated with the opposite sex, or some cases the same sex. So go cop the book. It's worth read, and follow the platform that says Accountable Masculinity on TikTok, Facebook, and Instagram. And on YouTube is Accountable Masculinity University, by the way.
All right. I like to echo the closing statements of these two gentlemen here. They actually they kind of eloquently spoke the thoughts that I was thinking. But I also like to add that for me, truth is above everything in relation to the topic of the day. You're always going to find extremists, left, right, up, down, center, wherever you're going to find them. What needs to be verified is the truth. The wonderful thing about the truth is I can test it consistently, and it will always stay the truth. If it starts moving and changing, then what I do know is what I don't have is the truth. So, constantly verifying whether something is truthful or not. Sometimes you might be stuck with something that's just true enough. And if that's what you have, then you hold on to it for dear life, because you don't have anything better. You don't complain. If you're out in the middle of the ocean, you don't complain about the log that's saving your life. It's not a really great boat, but it's going to keep you alive, afloat long enough to be able to, work your situation out. But yeah, no, truth above everything. Also, you can find me on Maxi Studio Music. I make my music out there. It's a little humble enterprise that I got going on YouTube. So it's spelled right there next to my name. If you can't see it, it's lowercase MA, capital X, lowercase SI, Studio Music. If you got an iPhone, you got to make sure you double. iPhone likes the what do you call it? The auto correct my name. So just be careful you typing it in correctly. But check me out. Like, subscribe, do that thing on do the YouTube thing. Hope to see y'all soon.
All right, all right, all right. And make sure you guys like and subscribe to us on our platform. More conversations with the average black man on YouTube. And she and I also have our individual platforms. She has more contentious media, and I have the average black man show, and we have them on all platforms as you see listed in this list. Yeah, yeah, all right there. You know, you dig what I'm saying? So you just check us out and Morphine, you got any last words?
Well, normally we will hit you with the next episode and what we are going to talk about. But since I don't know exactly what the next show is going to be about, we're just going to drop the commercial. We're just going to drop the commercial. I made this because I wanted to examine some of the things that I read every day in these Kevin Samuels groups. Sometimes the Righteous Man, whatever the hell they name their groups nowadays. And I'm in this accountability group, which talks so opposite of what I'm used to for a male's right movement. So it was some contrast and some things that I just felt like I needed to speak on for a certain amount of these people. And the guys they are in the Kevin Samuels group, and they are in their own individual group talking about how they thought they were going to get roasted. And I think they thought this shit was personal. It's not personal, baby. It's not personal. I don't know you personally. It's never personal. This is just the things that you put out here in the name of a males movement that I don't even think the pro males movement agree with. So I just wanted the voices to be heard. I wanted to have the conversation amongst intelligent minds. But like one of the guys said, I'm gonna quote him. His name is Jalen. He feels as though if he is challenged, or if you have anything to say that may be contradicting or challenging to what he's saying, then it's not worthy to respond to, and you're just a hater in his eyes. And the other guys, Kali West, Sean Killerman, Killerman, yeah, those guys also was invited to the show because I showed a lot of their posts. Fair use. You post it publicly, I'm gonna use it. So they didn't come up to the show, and I just wanted them to be able to talk to one-on-one, video to video, to other
And
men.
I want to throw this out
And
here
it didn't
too, because
happen. It didn't work out the way I wanted to, but we got it through.
I want to throw this out here too to piggyback what you just said, because they're talking about having a discussion about our discussion on their platform where they're the control. You know what I mean? So
Right.
I want to see if they're gonna extend the same courtesy of asking us to click the link. You know what I mean? And come on to their joints. But more than likely, I'll be at work. You'll be at work. So it is.
There's that. And here's the thing that I don't like about these conversations with guys like
please,
them.
wait. Hold on. I'm sorry. Please, 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 please. If y'all are watching this still, tag me so I can see what you're talking about. Even though I follow you already, I'm already subscribed to you, Callie, because that's what I'm that type of brother.
Well, yeah, I'm
we do
subscribed
that.
to you, so I know what y'all talking about.
But yeah, but I still, you know what I'm saying? And if you've been watching the whole time, you see we didn't defame you. So if you defame us, it's just a testament to your character.
And again, back to what I was about to say. The thing that I don't like about these guys is that they don't include other people in the conversation. And I like to include other thoughts, other opinions, other rationalities than just what my own opinion is. Because like the brother Vinny, the brother Victor, the brother Maurice is on here. Us all can collectively give something to each other that we all could take away from one another without tearing anyone down, because like I begin this, whether it's the feminist movement or it's the righteous fair movement, any movement that tear down another person, entity, or group is an unrighteous movement.
Somebody call the police.
Yeah, you heard them. Like, it's an unrighteous movement.
Yeah, they can want to go pick them up.
Yeah, they're going to go pick up the motherfuckers with the contradictions. I think the next show I really want to do the female version of this. Me and Tim we want to talk about this. You know,
Who the feminist extremists?
yeah, the feminist.
Hey, there's a
I think I want to piggyback. I mean, that's just, I'm morphine.
Don't laugh about that, because if you go do a YouTube search for fem sales, look it up. Like there's extremist women that are out here offering dudes, and it's being fem sales, just like
Nobody want to talk about that.
Yeah, I want to get into this because I have a extreme reputation to uphold of me being non-sexist.
Yeah.
Mr. Victor don't like that about me because I don't got no side. I ain't know nobody.
I don't like. I've never taken offense to people definitions about anything. I understand that everybody's got a different set of information. We just all on different paths. We all on different paths headed to the same direction.
Absolutely.
What we want is space to be heard. You know what I'm saying, and other perspectives to be absorbed, and that way it gives everybody a chance to get in their own pocket. Man, you don't know everything. I don't know everything. And the things I don't know, I'd rather default to somebody that's got the firsthand experience. And then the thing, because like I focus on teaching, you know what I'm saying?
Mm-hmm.
What I'm saying. That's like, if you follow my platform, you see the way that I write is intentional, is determined to trigger people to not wrap their trauma around somebody else's words, man.
That part.
I didn't do it. I just know what was done. I don't know your individual story, but I know what was done because I've seen it. I got clients. I you know what I'm saying? I do consults on a regular basis. So that's how they come to me. You know what I'm saying?
Right.
So, we need to get backstage. You already
Yeah,
had
we need to get back to we had 2:30, we had 2:15. So thank you guys for joining. Thank you guys for actually clicking on this link for today, because this is our first time coming back. We've been out of here for a month now. Our third season, 2 years in, consistently giving you guys more conversations with the average black man. Thank you.
Mm-hmm.